Hello and welcome to Regal Fare. I'm Chef Ian Bromstead and I'm going to show you how to create simple and elegant meals just like we do at some of the finest restaurants in this country. So today we're going to make some roasted sea scallops with cauliflower, pickled onion, and olive. Then we're going to prepare a roasted New York sirloin with autumn vegetables and black olive. Then we'll prepare a Von Bouche cheese with pickled cherries and walnut. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on our scallops. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna season our scallops with just a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm gonna season both sides with both the salt and the pepper. These are some large Maine dayboat sea scallops. And I'm just gonna season each side with the pepper. And then I'm gonna transfer them right into this saute pan here, and I'm gonna sear them in just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Pan a little hot. We like the pan to be nice and hot when we drop the scallops in to ensure that we get a good sear, a nice crispy crust on the outside of the scallop. Now we can see that the oil is starting to have a nice shimmer. And drop these right into the hot oil. So our scallops are roasting nicely. So while our scallops are roasting, I'm going to go ahead and make a little salad. So here we have some raw cauliflower that I've chopped very finely, very similar to the texture of couscous. So I'm just going to take a little of that here. And I'm just going to mix that with just a little bit of chopped parsley, a little ground black pepper, a little bit of salt. We can set this aside for now. Just going to stir to combine. Now we have our raw cauliflower salad here. Now we can take a little of our blanched cauliflower florets. I just blanched these in a little salted boiling water, and I shocked them in a little ice water. So our scallops should be getting a nice little crust on them. You can see we're getting a nice little sear. You can let them go just a little bit longer. Turn the heat down. We're getting a few little wisps of smoke coming off the scallop. We want to go a little slower than that. Means we're just getting a little too hot. If we see the little smoke coming out, just slow that down a little. So I'm going to take a little of these pickled red onions. Now all I did to make these onions was I just submerged some sliced red onion in just a little bit of red wine vinegar, and I let them sit overnight. Gives them this really bright pink, beautiful color. And we're going to take a little of this pickling liquid as well, a little of this red wine vinegar. So I'm just gonna, again, season this with some salt and pepper and olive oil. And we should be able to turn our scallops now. Nice golden browns here. So these are only gonna take just a few moments. So now that we have our scallops seared, and we're searing on both sides, on the other side, I'm just gonna crack a clove of garlic, drop it into the oil. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of butter. Maybe not quite that much. A little sprig of thyme. This will pop a little. So I just want to continue to cook these scallops just until they're just warm on the inside. I don't want them to be firm. I just want to take away the cold at this point. We can go ahead and we can start basting some of this delicious butter that we've infused with the garlic and the thyme just over top. They really only need just a few more seconds, just enough so that they're warm on the inside. Just another few moments here. So we can go ahead and take this one out. And this one is just a little rare in the center. I can feel that it's still pretty soft. So just a little more butter over top, and that should do it. So now we have our scallops out, and we can continue with our salad. So with this salad, I'm going to take just a few bit of these raw parsley leaves, whole parsley leaves. Just add these in here. I'm going to add a little extra virgin olive oil and a little salt. So now that we have our salads and our scallops ready, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish plating our dish. So I've made a little bit of cauliflower puree. So I'm going to just take a little a little dot of the cauliflower puree and just drag it across the plate. Now to make this cauliflower puree, all I did was I took all the scraps from all the cauliflower preparations and I just boiled them in a little bit of milk and then pureed them. I added a little bit of butter when I finished the puree, just to give it a little bit more richness. I seasoned it with a little salt, and that's all. So I'm just going to take some of this raw cauliflower salad here. I'm just going to place a couple little piles here, just to create a bed for the cauliflower. This is going to add a nice texture of the raw cauliflower to the dish. Another little dot over here. Just a little pile, just a little bed for the scallops. So now that we have our cauliflower salad down, go ahead and just arrange our scallops right on top. So we can take our cauliflower salad here that we have with the blanched cauliflower florets, our pickled red onion, and our parsley. We can add just a little bit of Castelvetrano olive. These are nice, beautiful, big green olives from Italy. Just going to fold these in here as well. Now I'm just going to go ahead and arrange this salad around the plate. A few pieces here. Nice little line of the cauliflower salad. So here we have our roasted sea scallops with cauliflower, pickled red onion, and Cerignola olive. We're going to get this cleaned up and we'll be right back to prepare our steak. So we're back and we're going to go ahead and start preparing our steak. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start on our black olive sauce. So what I've done is I've taken about a quart of black olives. These are Moroccan oil cured olives. All I've done is taken the pits out and I've set them in a dehydrator for about 24 hours just until they're crispy. So I'm just going to transfer these directly to the blender. And we're really just going to let these keep blending just until all the oil starts to come out. So it's going to take a few minutes. And as it's blending, we're going to want to make sure that we get in here and we scrape the sides down and get all the little bits of olive down in there. We're going to continue to blend just until this becomes a nice smooth sauce. So now we can see that all of these dried black olives have turned into a really rich, creamy black olive oil. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this and I'm just going to set this through a strainer and just let all this oil just slowly pass through, just to get out any remaining crunchy bits that might still be in there. So we can set this in here to drain and let this slowly strain out. Set this over here to drain. So now we can start cooking our steak. Actually, let's start cooking the carrots first. So here in this pan, I'm just going to add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to add 1 clove of garlic. I'm going to crack it. Get it in the olive oil. And we can slowly start to roast our baby carrots. These are some beautiful baby carrots that I got at the Union Square Green Market from Paffenroth Farms. They still have their greens intact. Really beautiful little baby carrots. So we can just let those roast slowly. Now we can start our steak. So I'm just going to season our steak, both sides, with salt and pepper. I like an aggressive amount of seasoning on my steak. It really helps create a nice crust on the outside. So here we can add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil to this pan. You can see that our oil is moving around nice and quickly, so we can tell that our oil is hot. We just drop this right in here. So now that we have our steak roasting, we can go ahead and start roasting our Brussels sprouts. nice and neatly. I really like to take the time to organize all the Brussels sprouts so that when we go to flip them, they'll all be nice and cooked evenly. Our carrots are roasting nicely. Our garlic is getting a little bit of color. That's good. Our carrots are starting to take on a little bit of color. These aren't going to need that much longer. We just want to cook them until they're tender. Our steak is roasting nicely. Getting a nice sear. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. You can see we're starting to get little wisps of smoke coming out. That means our oil is getting a little too hot. Our Brussels sprouts are starting to cook. We're getting a little bit of sizzle in here. Our carrots are coming along nicely. We can see that we're getting just a little bit of color, a little bit of caramelization on the outside of the carrots. That's really good thing. It's going to add a little bit of sweetness with the caramelization on the outside. Our steak is roasting along nicely. We continue to cook that like that. Our Brussels sprouts are just about hot. So we'll continue to cook this steak here on this side for another minute and a half or so, just until we get a nice sear. A little longer. Our carrots are almost ready. Now that our carrots are all nicely roasted, we have a nice little bit of color on them. We can go ahead and add 1 sprig at a time. It'll give a nice herbaceous flavor to the oil, which will then wrap the carrots in that delicious aromatic oil. Add a little bit of cracked black pepper here. We can now turn our steak. Now we have a nice, hard, crusty sear on the outside of our steak here. Our Brussels sprouts are roasting along nicely. We're probably about to be getting a little bit of color here. You can turn this down just a little bit, getting a little smoky. So now that these carrots are almost cooked here, I'm just going to add just a little bit of butter. The moisture from the butter is going to help just continue to cook the carrots. Just a little bit of butter in here. You can go ahead and add just a little bit of salt now that our carrots are just about done. Just continue to cook these until they're tender. Should only take another few seconds. Steak is getting a little hot here. I want to kind of avoid the smoke, but it's fine. That's how it is. Our Brussels sprouts now should be getting some beautiful caramelization. You can go ahead and turn all these over. Just another few moments on the Brussels. A nice, beautiful caramelization on all these. We just want to cook them through, so we'll turn them over. So those are almost ready. And our carrots are just about done. Just get them covered in that oil, and the moisture in the butter will actually help steam the carrots through. So these are just about ready. Our steak is cooking along nicely. It's still a little rare here, so we'll keep going just a little longer. Just a little longer on the steak. We can pull these carrots off now that they're ready. In this cast iron pan, I'm going to go ahead and start cooking my potatoes. So just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil here. And I'm actually just going to split these potatoes in half. I've gone ahead and I boiled these for about 9 minutes just to cook them slightly. So that way when we go to cook them, they'll be nice and crispy and fully cooked. So we can lay these potatoes gently down, face down in the olive oil. And we can just start to roast these. So now that our steak is almost ready here, you can feel that it's a nice medium rare. We can add a little bit of butter. And we can add a clove of garlic right to the oil. I'm going to crack the garlic clove open with my hand. And we're going to add 1 sprig at a time. This will pop a little. It's okay. So now that we have our steak almost fully cooked, I'm just going to go ahead and take some of this delicious butter that we have that's all herbaceous from the thyme and delicious from the garlic. I'm just going to spoon this over top. Just baste to finish. Feel we have a nice medium rare in there. A little closer to medium. So we can go ahead and we can get the steak out. Right here on our board. Our Brussels sprouts are just about ready. I'm going to turn this burner off. And I'm going to add just the remainder of this butter just to keep the Brussels sprouts nice and moist. So So we're just seasoning our Brussels sprouts here with a little bit of salt and pepper. We can go ahead and we can check our potatoes now. I bet that we're gonna have a little longer. Starting to get some beautiful golden brown here. Just let these cook just another minute or so. So now that all of our vegetables are cooked, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get my plate out. And I'm gonna start arranging my roasted vegetables. So we have the beautiful roasted baby carrots. We can arrange our Brussels sprouts. So our potatoes should be just about ready here. Starting to get a nice golden brown. Get all these turned over. And let these keep cooking on the other side. So we're again going to season our potatoes with just a little bit of salt, cracked black pepper. And these should be hot through, so we can put them right on the plate. Little roasted potatoes. Go very nicely with all of our other roasted vegetables here. One more. So we have our roasted vegetables down. Now I can go ahead and I can slice our steak. So I'm just going to slice it. Just nice big thick slices. Want to make sure that we're slicing against the grain. That's the lines of the meat that run through the steak. So we want to make sure that we don't cut with the lines of the steak. We cut against them. So let me just cut the bottom off of this so that it has a nice array of the steak slices. So we can go ahead and just lay this right on top. Nice beautiful roasted steak here. Now we have our black olive sauce that has gone ahead and strained. So we can just take our black olive sauce. We can just drizzle some of this around. It's nice, beautiful black olive sauce. Beautiful color. Delicious black olive flavor. It goes really nicely with the flavor of the steak and all these roasted vegetables. And I have just a little bit of farm fresh arugula here. I'm just gonna lay these right on top. All over. I really like the pepperiness of the arugula. It really brings a nice flavor to the roasted vegetables and the meat. It goes really well with the saltiness of the olives as well. And just arrange these all over. So here we have our roasted New York sirloin steak with roasted autumn vegetables and black olive. We're going to get this cleaned up and we're going to come right back and make our bambouche cheese. Welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and prepare our cheese course here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a little bit of this clover honey and I'm just going to add this to a pan. I'm going to add all this honey. It's about 3 tablespoons of honey. Now to this I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons or 1/4 cup of white wine vinegar. Just going to let this cook. Just want to let the honey dissolve into the vinegar. We're going to add about 12 black peppercorns. Let's add about 7 cloves. We can add 2 cinnamon sticks. And we can just let this steep. We just want to make a little pickling liquid for the cherries. It's really going to bring a really amazing sweetness and acidity to these cherries, and I think it'll go really well with this cheese. So I'm going to go ahead and let these cherries just steep right in this hot liquid here. So I can just add the cherries. We don't want to overcook the cherries. We just really want to warm them in the pickling liquid, give the spices a chance to give off some of their spice to the pickling liquid. So we can just add these cherries here. And just let this just come up to a boil and let the cherries just warm up in this pickling liquid. Really going to give the cherries a nice, bright, sweet flavor. So we can let those go. So now we can take our bambouche cheese. This is a cheese that comes from the Vermont Creamery. It's an ash rind cheese. It's beautiful, sweet, tangy. So I'm just going to put a couple nice big slices right in the well of this bowl over here. I'm just gonna put some of these slices here. So we can also add these toasted walnut halves. It's going to give a nice texture crunch, a nice nutty flavor to the dish. Add like three. Three is nice. We can shut our cherries off. Our cherries have just started to warm through. It's going to have a really nice, bright, sweet, tangy flavor to the cherries. A little bit of the spice from the pepper comes through nicely. Some of the spicy flavor from the clove and the cinnamon. Roast cheese with pickled cherries, walnut halves, and our cranberry raisin bread. We'll be right back to present our dishes. So welcome back. We've gone ahead and we have all our dishes here. So first we have our roasted sea scallops, which come from Maine. They have the cauliflower puree, our raw cauliflower salad, our salad of the blanched florets, Castelvetrano olive, and our pickled red onion. This is an excellent preparation that would work with a variety of other proteins. I think an olive oil poached salmon would work really well with this, or a piece of braised veal would even work. And then here we have our roasted New York strip steak with our roasted autumn vegetables. And there are a wonderful array of other vegetables we can substitute in this. Roasted fennel or rapini or roasted cipollini onions or even roasted turnips would work really well with this. The flavor of the steak going with the olives would really pair with a real large host of other vegetables. Really excellent autumn dish. And then we have our bambouche cheese with pickled cherries, toasted walnuts, and our pecan bread. Delightfully sweet, a little tangy, an excellent finish to this cold weather meal. I'm Chef Ian Bromstead. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Regal Fare, and we'll see you next time.